Hey guys, now I'm going to get the primary off. When you're trail converting this, you're going to want to change your spring and your weights depending on your riding preference and what track and what gearing you have in your sled. But right now, I'm going to get this primary clutch off, and we can get the weights changed out in the spring. But for getting this clutch off, you're going to need a 13/16 6-point socket. You want a 6-point because you don't want to have to worry about rounding the bolts off with a 12-point socket. So let's just get this pulled off real quick here. You have your clutch bolt here. Make sure you don't lose the shims that are in it. And you're going to want to take your clutch puller, which this is a standard Polaris clutch puller, takes a 3/4 inch socket, and you're going to want to thread it in there by hand first. You don't want to just put it in there and then ram it in with the impact gun, because then you can worry about ruining the threads on your clutch. So you're going to want to screw this in, and it should pop off. Okay, it's not popping off, so you want to get a hammer and pound on it. It's not coming on. Hold on. So I literally just turned the camera off and gave it a couple more pounds with the hammer, and it popped off, so you guys missed it. So with that, you're going to want to take your clutch puller back out, put it in an R. There we go. Once you have that out, pull this off. Here's our clutch, and then I'll transfer the phone over here, and I'll get working on this so you guys can see what it takes to change the spring and weights. Okay guys, so now with the clutch off, we are going to change the weights in the spring, and to do that, you're going to want to get a 3/8 6-point socket for these cover bolts. You're going to want a 3/8 end wrench to get these nuts off with an 1/8 inch Allen. And there's one design that I really don't like that Polaris did, is they don't allow you to get a socket on this nut, so to buzz off quick. With that being said, you have to use an end wrench to get them off. So just pop this on here. And when you take these off, you're going to want to do a crisscross pattern so it doesn't put all the torque on one individual bolt. So you just take this off slow, because as you'll see, it'll start to come up here. So when you take this off, you're going to want to be careful not to lose any of these bolts. Your spring comes off pretty simple. This is a stock spring. And then for getting these weights off, you just Allen, end wrench, unscrew them. They should come out fairly easy, and they are. Put the nut back on the bolt so don't lose them. These Polarises, they do not have any bushings in them. I know some Articats do, so you really don't have to worry about losing anything. And these all should come out fairly easy. These are the stock 58 gram weights. They're RD58s. This is stock for Polaris. and I will get the new ones and give you the rundown of what they are. So now I have my EPI 60 gram weights. These are EPI's belly busters. This is what JS Power Sports recommends. If you are replacing weights, say you bought a set off eBay or anything like that, you're going to want to make sure that these bushings are in good shape. You don't want them to be loose or womping around inside of the housing. With that being said, I got a Team Venom Team primary spring. It's pink. It's a 180 320. This is what JS Power Sports recommends. I'm going to run it, do some tests. Since I'm sponsored by EPI, that would be the place that I would go to get those springs. I just bought everything from JS because they wouldn't give me specifics unless I bought everything. So I had to buy everything, and I'm trying to help you guys out. If you don't want to do business there, or if you do, go for it. I'm just trying to help people through this and have a trail ready IQR. So there's no specific way of these weights going in to the clutch. You just don't want to put them in upside down. So you line it up, take your bolt. You don't really need to lube them up at all. Some people do, some people don't. But yeah, just put these on here, and you can't over tighten them. Let me show you guys. With this, you cannot over tighten them because the nut will come to the stop on this bolt before it actually hits up against the aluminum side here of the upright. So I'll just get all three of these in, and then I'll tighten them down. And make sure that your bolts that are going through the weights are all pointing the same direction. It could throw the balance off of the clutch. Right, it's tightened up here. I will get these tightened up, and then we'll get the spring and cover in. The spring is pretty easy. It's on there like that, and then this is almost a two-person job unless you don't have this special tool to compress everything, which I don't, so I'll have my dad help me out. And when you put this back on, I'll show you guys. On here, there's an X that you're going to want to have in line. With this X, there's an X here, as you can see. So when you put this on, you want both X's to be in match. And then if you ever have to take the spider off and do any repair work, there's also an X located right under there. I can't show you because the weight and the spider is in the way, but there is an X, and you want all three of them to be lined up evenly. So I'll get this on and we'll be good. One thing I wanted to say when I was complaining about Polaris's design with these, about not being able to get a socket in, is to make this pretty much dummy proof when people are tightening them, because these are such little bolts. If you run an impact on it to tighten them down, chances are you're going to snap it off. So when you do tighten these down, just make sure they're snug, not finger tight, but they're going to hit the stop, and you don't want them going anywhere. Because if you have one of these fly out at 8,800 RPMs, it's going to be a mess. But so you just, snug them up. They're going to hit the stop on the bolt anyways. You'll be good. So I just wanted to mention that so people weren't commenting, oh, well, you dummy, that's so people don't run impacts on them. Well, it's dummy proof. So there's that. One thing I wanted to mention before we put this clutch back on is, since this was a snowcross sled, the last time it was ridden or started was pretty much at the races. So I wanted to show you inside this clutch here, you have these rubber marks. It's from the belt. Before you reinstall it, you're going to want to get a Scotch-Brite pad and just run it in there. And it only takes just a little bit to get the rubber marks off. And it's only on there because the snowcross guys will ride the brake for the whole shot before the start of the whole shot, which is causing the belt to slip on the clutch. And you don't want that trail riding. You want to have this as clean as possible. And you know, they clean these off before every race anyways, but since this was just put away and not really taken care of at the end, I gotta do it. So with that being said, we're just cleaning it up and kind of roughens up the surface to let the belt grab. There's still some there. But as you can see, it only takes about a minute to clean this off and you are ready to go. There you go. It's clean, ready to get put back on the sled.